Thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Shaakira Pierre. Coming up, OECS health ministers focus on regional health insurance, fresh produce producers call to ensure best quality of their products, and 25 receive training in post-harvest treatment of dasheens. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after this.
Wow.
Children, yell and tell if someone tries to abuse you. Tell until someone believes you and they do something about it.
For more information on child abuse or to report suspected cases on child abuse, contact the Social Welfare Division on 33 Great Marlborough Street or call 266-3020 or 266-3080.
Welcome back. Universal access to healthcare for the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States was top priority discussion as OECS health ministers met for the second of two meetings on Thursday. While Director of the OECS Pharmaceutical Procurement Service, Francis Burnett, focused Wednesday's meeting on the issue of member states meeting their financial obligations to the PPS, incoming chairman of the Council of Health Ministers, Dominica's Honorable Minister for Health, Dr. Kenneth Daru, continued discussions on universal access to healthcare on Thursday.
You would have heard the director, well, the deputy director speak to our own prime minister. We have given his no objection towards that. Of course, this is going to have financial implications, of course, and of course, with the whole implementation of how this is going to work out, it would mean, of course, increasing our annual subscription to the OECS, PPS, etc. So we look forward to an exciting today's meeting. As I said, for the first meeting, we're hoping that we can, of course, iron out some of the issues, the whole issue of financing of the OECS, PPS. It's always an ongoing issue. Sometimes certain countries do not meet their requirements, etc. For various reasons, of course, some legitimate, others not. And we're hoping that we can, of course, trash this out by today's meeting. And of course, to look back at the work plan, the last year's work plan, to see how many of how much of our objectives we've met, how many rather of our objectives we've met, and of course to formulate a new work plan for the coming year. The OECS, as I said, ministers meeting tomorrow is going to be much broader. They leave a lot more broader issues. The issue of we would just speak about health insurance. And for many years now, we've introduced this topic as whether we cannot introduce this health insurance at a sub-regional level to make it easier for our clients to travel from island to island where specialized care services, established. And of course, speaking to economies and health financiers, they will tell you that it doesn't make much economic sense for each island to invest in a specialized care center. Economies of scale do not speak in favor of this. So we've been speaking of why don't each island invest in a particular specialized care center, and then we implement this sub-regional health insurance scheme so patients can move from island to island with the flash of a card, access this, these centers, etc.
Head of the University of the West Indies Health Economic Unit, Dr. Stanley Lalter, made a presentation at the meeting on national health insurance in the OECS countries. He says while the health insurance scheme should be fast-tracked, it must be cost-effective. He explained that while a national health insurance scheme may have a few challenges, there are several benefits.
But a sub-regional approach really has a lot of benefits for several aspects of health. That overseas care part, if you look at that overseas care bill, that's a major component of most countries. How can you organize that better? And it's not that you don't have options. Now there are many more options. Persons don't always have to go to the United States. You have Cuba, you have Panama, you have Colombia, you have Martinique, you have Barbados, but how do you compare value for money from all of these in order to ensure that you're going to get the best benefit for the patient and value for your money? And that could benefit, because the benefit of working together means that if 20 patients are going for, really advanced cancer care, then there's a benefit to you. There's a volume benefit to the countries as a whole as against one individual country.
Honorable Darrow says it's a new and exciting time for health in the region with the introduction of several new health ministers. As chairman, he hopes to bring his experience to the discussions.
As a chairman, I think I can bring a little sense of leadership and a little experience, both as a medical practitioner and of course being at the cabinet for the past 7 years, Minister of Health, past 2 years, being a certain sense of leadership to the process, and see how we can come up with some concrete recommendations.
Meantime, Dominica is moving ahead with the idea of a national health insurance scheme. At the last budget sitting, a $5 million allocation was made for a pilot project for health insurance for single mothers. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Harold Gist, is calling on local producers of fresh produce to ensure the best quality of their product from production to distribution. He was speaking to GIS News following a national consultation on developing a national brand for fresh produce in Dominica held last week.
With this brand, we'll be able, I believe, to increase our market share in the region and be true to who we are. But this comes with responsibility. It comes with the responsibility of us having to make sure that we have consistent quality, consistent supply, that we have total quality management along the entire value chain, so that everything that needs to be in place is in place, so that the brand does not suffer as a result of one of these cogs in the wheel, so to speak, is out of whack. Then that throws everything off. So our shipping needs to be in order, our packaging needs to be attractive and in order, our production needs to be in order, our timing, our scheduling, and all these things have to be in order so that the brand really works for us.
These sentiments were also echoed by Agribusiness and Marketing Coordinator for the OECS, Dr. Nadia Paquette Anselm.
Branding in itself cannot stand alone. I mean, branding is really something that is a process, and it starts from the farm until it reaches the buyers and until it reaches the consumer. And we can't say that a product is branded and yet still we do not take into consideration quality components of ensuring that the product continues to meet a desired quality, because it will compromise our brand, it will compromise our reputation as a country, it will compromise our the opportunity to continue to export and to increase export earnings over time, because if we compromise quality, we compromise our brand. So we are looking at all of those components hand in hand. We plan to work with the Dominica Bureau of Standards. We've started to actually develop some record keeping booklet, because all of that will identify what the farmers consider as safe practices at the farm level that will go into the product. But we plan to encompass all of these quality components, and first and foremost, the brand is a national brand, but a lot of the activities will be done through the XIA and through the national pack houses that are existent, and that all fresh produce exported will actually be branded, not only for the fact that it carries a national brand, but it also carries a mark of product quality as well.
More than 70% of the fresh produce imported in the region comes from extra-regional markets, which has indicated that Dominica's competitors are very well branded. Dr. Anselm believes that with better branding and maintenance of standards, Dominica's produce can make a name for itself in the region.
There is the notion that exists that Dominica's fresh produce is of high quality, it's naturally grown. So that perception does exist in the region, but can a consumer identify that commodity being Dominican when they come to the market? It's something that is lacking, and we've seen that in terms of our business case studies that we've put together, in terms of the market studies that we've conducted, that in these markets, we just, there's an array of produce available, but the consumer cannot identify. Now, with branding, the opportunity lies that there is an opportunity for increasing export trade of fresh produce, because right now the consumer can actually depict to the buyer and, establish that demand factor that I've consumed Dominican product. I know it's Dominican because I can identify the brand and the product, and this is a product that I come back to the supermarket to purchase. So really and truly, branding will in its entirety increase the exports of fresh produce trade in the long run, and we're hoping that Dominica can definitely have a fair share on the regional market in terms of export trade for fresh produce.
25 agriculture industry personnel, including exporters, packhouse operators, and farmers, are set to receive training in post-harvest treatment and handling and packaging of dasheen and other roots and tubers. This is the second in a series of workshops titled Strengthening the Capacity of Agro-Processors farmers and exporters on processing and packaging technologies specific to their operations, emphasis on roots and tubers. The two-day workshop, which began on Wednesday, is held at the Dominica Export and Import Agency, Dexia's Parkhouse in Roseau. The previous workshop focused on identifying and recommending suitable packaging materials for agro-products. The main objective of this current workshop is to improve the skills and knowledge of key stakeholders in conforming to the commodity standards for dasheen and other roots and tubers. Representative for the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, Dorian Etienne, said that this workshop is timely because of the complaints made by farmers of the low sale of the dasheen and other roots and tubers.
In the context of our food import bill, at the level that it is, there is the urgent need that Dominica has the capacity to produce a portion of the food that is required for domestic consumption and also for export. And so strengthening the capacities for agricultural production and processing within an environment that facilitates timely dissemination and effective adoption of appropriate technology is critical to realizing that need. Well, today's training in strengthening the capacity of agro-processors, farmers, and exporters on packaging technology specific to the operations is another step in the right direction.
Etienne noted that the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA, and CARDI will continue to collaborate to deliver the expected results of the Agriculture Policy Program, which is being implemented by ICA and executed by CARDI. ICA representative Ken Coppell outlined the components of the Agriculture Policy Program.
The APP has three components. Component one, that deals with issues of policy and strategies, is being managed by the CARICOM. Component 2, which deals with the issue of research and transfer of technology, is being managed and implemented by CARDI. And in component 3, that deals with enterprise development, is being managed and implemented by ICA. The program is ready to strengthen persons involved in agriculture as well as the agricultural business itself. So therefore, it makes no sense to talk about strategies and research, and at the end of the day, there's no business. So we are linking all the components. That's why, as much as possible, the programs that we are doing are complementary to each other. We are linking all the components. That's why, as much as possible, the programs that we are doing are complementary to each other. And it's not just 2 workshops we had, there were several workshops. At least 2 persons have been trained in the area of traceability. We have had training in the area of post-harvest management outside of Dominica. We have had training for product development outside of Dominica. So a number of persons have benefited under the APP.
This program is funded under the 10th European Development Fund and is executed through a contribution agreement signed between the European Union and ICA. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Harold Gist, said government is committed to working with farmers to ensure they meet the required post-harvest standards.
The Ministry of Agriculture is committed to working with Dexia, Bureau of Standards, the Dominica Hucksters Association, and other agencies involved in marketing and sale of dasheen, sweet potato, and other root crops to ensure that the post-harvest management is done according to prescribed and acceptable standards for consistency and quality. We will work with you on that.
Some of the topics to be covered are commodity standard specifications, post-harvest treatment and post-harvest handling and packaging of dasheen and traceability. You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
Let's have some fun, eh?
I'm not ready for your kind of fun yet.
But everybody else is doing it.
But I'm not everybody else. I'm me, and I want to do well in school.
Well, you definitely get an A for attitude.
I plan to get an A in life, and then think of your kind of fun.
So what am I to do in the meantime?
You'll survive.
Say no when you're not ready. Use condoms when you are.
Welcome back. Assistant Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise is urging health and family life educators, HFLE, to be vigilant in the classroom. In his address at an HFLE workshop for teachers on Tuesday, he encouraged the educators to have a watchful eye for any troubling behaviors among students.
The HFLE teacher must be vigilant. You must be able to spot students at risk. Students at risk of social adjustments, student at risk of abuse, student at risk of learning difficulties. And they will exhibit many traits. You will, I'm sure, be exposed to some of those this morning. You need to be able to have a fine eye to see that student is reserved, or that student is overly aggressive, or that student is overly talkative, or that student doesn't talk at all. And these may be signs of certain things that you might, as a teacher, want to explore further. Very rarely you will find a student coming to you and say, Miss, I have a problem, or Miss, this is what affects me, or Sir, this is what affects me. No, they don't. Most often they don't. You will have to spot those things for yourselves. And therefore, when those exist, you will be trained on strategies to deal with them.
He also addressed the issue of confidentiality.
If you're not confidential as a professional, it undermines your credibility. It undermines students' confidence in your ability to mitigate in challenges, because nobody wants to tell somebody anything only to find out that somebody else gets to know very quickly. Having said that, you have a responsibility as a teacher to ensure that whatever is said to you, if it puts the student at risk, you will be trained again in ways in which you can divulge that information to selected professionals in the protection of students. Okay, so we have a balancing act to play there. One, confidentiality, the other one is student protection. And I am sure you will be exposed to that even further. Very, very important attributes.
The Assistant Chief Education Officer encouraged the teachers to network at the workshop in order to build their individual strengths as educators.
Your strength is in working together. No two people have the same challenges, but through vicarious experience, if you know that somebody has gone that route with a challenge and it didn't work, most likely you will use another route, because after speaking to them, they will tell you, well, I tried this, it probably did not work, you may want to use another strategy, or I tried this and it worked very well, how about trying it as well? And as educators, this is one of the marks of a professional, having a network of like minds which you can relate to share your experiences and to learn from others.
There will be a zero tolerance for bad food at this year's World Creole Music Festival. At a press conference on Wednesday, Senior Environmental Health Officer Clara Charles briefed the press on measures being taken by the Environmental Health Unit to ensure that food served at the WCMF is done up to standard. She said the Environmental Health Unit has commenced these following activities in preparation for the event.
We have increased the number of food handlers training sessions for the month, and over the past month we have trained over 507 food handlers. Currently we are conducting assessments of all vendors, accommodations and caterers for this event. Closer to the event, we will be conducting vector control surveillance, and this will be done within the perimeters of the stadium, and this will also include fogging activities.
Charles noted that throughout the event, there will be monitoring of liquid and solid waste activities, and food stalls will also be periodically assessed. She stated that vendors at the World Creole Music Festival have a greater responsibility to provide quality food in a safe and secure manner.
Vendors should ensure that they comply with the requirements of the Environmental Health Department and ensure that they have hot holding equipment for hot foods, ensure that the foods are stirred often and that the sterner warmers are operating efficiently, ensure that they have adequate cold storage for frozen foods and for raw meat items. For example, the importance of storing seasoned meat foods in a cooler or on ice, and ensure that ice used for storage of beverages or drinks or other items are not used for the serving of drinks. They should also ensure that their hand washing stations are set up and equipped with disposable paper towels and liquid hand soap, and that adequate tongs, forks, spatulas are available for use throughout the event, particularly within the barbecue pit area.
In support of this event, the department has organized training for all vendors.
This training will be held on Wednesday, 19th October at 4 p.m. for vendors who will take part in the World Creole Music Festival, Creole Bodlame, Creole in the Park, and NCCU Kadas Lipso. And this is not a food handlers training session. However, it is a session to inform the vendors of what is it that we expect from them and what are the requirements that we expect them to go through while vending at these events.
New chairman of the Canefield Urban Council, Maxime Powell, is calling on homeowners in the Canefield area to pay their house taxes. Powell, during his incoming speech, urged the community to settle outstanding dues to see an improved community.
We know that the government makes a monthly contribution to the council to assist with some of these expenditures, but it is insufficient. Hence, the council depends on you to pay your house rates to match what government provides in order to give you the necessary services. Therefore, as of Monday, you are welcome to sit with the clerk and the assistant clerk of the council to arrange your payment plans. We promise you that we will do everything within our means to address your issues.
Meanwhile, Powell used the opportunity to invite residents to join the council in beautification projects around the community.
As we celebrate our 38th year of independence under the theme, strengthening our commitment to nation building, and in the midst of the festivities, I urge you to do some reflection and recommit yourself to building our community by participating in beautification and cleanup efforts or any positive activities within your locality on National Day of Community Service this year. Council will see what assistance is available to you and will inform you accordingly. Do have an enjoyable Independence 2016.
Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Maho constituency, which includes Canefield, Rayburn Blackmore, also addressed beautification of the community.
I'll be working closely with the Canefield Urban Council in order to ensure that brush cutting is not only limited to the main road, but brush cutting is done in every locality within the Canefield area.
He revealed that 3 individuals have been contracted under the community beautification aspect of the National Employment Program. That's the English news. Your tip of the day is next.
There is a silent, invisible killer in our midst, a killer which largely goes unnoticed as it plies its deadly trade. Its name is second-hand tobacco smoke, which has a far greater impact on persons inhaling this poison than on smokers themselves. Second-hand tobacco smoke is especially detrimental in public places and negatively impacts our national health as well as public health expenditure. Stop this invisible killer now. Say no to second-hand tobacco smoke in public places. A public health message brought to you by the Ministry of Health and the Pan American Health Organization.
Health professionals agree that the best way to combat breast cancer is with early detection, which is why routine breast self-exams, annual checkups, and mammograms are critical. Here are some quick tips on self-breast examination. Stand in front of a mirror and examine the appearance, or stand in the shower. Palpate breast using 3 levels of pressure lay down, or prop up your shoulder on a pillow and feel the breast. That's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. Live streaming is also available on our YouTube channel 24 hours a day. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I'm Shaakira Pierre. Thanks for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.